Welcome to the Better Business Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Zellin. Join me week after week as I interview high-level entrepreneurs on their journey to success, both in business and personal development. Each week presents new stories to learn from and new ideas on how to run a better business. Stay updated with all the guests we'll have by subscribing to this podcast. Alrighty, welcome to another episode of Better Business with Austin Zellin, guys. I'm so excited. Today we have Michael Londo. He's going to be telling us about his business experience and the things that he's done to grow his business to where it's at today. He's got a lot of really great lessons that he's learned along his journey. And I want you all to just take in some of the information and hopefully apply it to the businesses that you're running. So, as we get started here, Michael, thank you so much for joining me. I want you to introduce yourself really quick and just tell people who Michael is and the things that you're involved in, and maybe even like your main business and what you're involved in and that side of things.
My name is Michael Londo, CEO of Body Balance System.
Okay.
We manufacture red light therapy beds, one of our products.
All you biohackers out there, pay attention.
So red light therapy is great for pain relief, muscle recovery, fat loss. NASA developed the technology many years ago, used it for astronauts, and the side effect was fat loss. So
wow.
Now it's kind of hit the commercial market.
How rapid is this fat loss, by the way?
How rapid?
Yeah. Like how much fat could people lose realistically?
We've seen people lose in the first session.
Wow.
So record that I've ever heard back was somebody lost a total of 11 inches combined over their body in one session.
Wow. In one session?
In one session.
That's crazy.
So
all right. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
So that's Body Balance System.
Yeah.
We're just launching a new division of the company because in today's market, people are afraid to spend money.
Okay.
Afraid to, because our equipment is fairly expensive. Afraid to do a bank, sign a bank note for it, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're launching a new division of the company to where it's called Revlite Systems. And we will technically take a piece of equipment, drop it in a business and share the revenue with them.
Okay.
We're just kind of get it launched. I can't say the name yet, but we're already about ready to sign a contract with a major gym, nationwide gym. And then we have a high-end luxury hotel chain, major hotel chain that has caught wind of it, and they're hounding us to sign up with them as well.
Wow.
So,
awesome.
And we're still trying to, and we don't even have business cards. I mean,
yeah,
it's a very new project.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. So how long have you been in this business for?
I started a business about 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. You were doing red light therapy 20 years ago?
No, I started a business. We were manufacturing a system. It was a ionic detox foot bath. So it basically helps remove toxins and stuff from your body.
I've actually used one of those before. I wonder if it's yours.
It could be.
Yeah.
We
That's
have
awesome.
one of the premier brands in the industry. So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's really great. So along this journey of entrepreneurship, obviously you have a bit of a different lifestyle than somebody who works a 9 to 5. What would you say is your favorite part of being an entrepreneur? Is it the time freedom or financial freedom, or what exactly about entrepreneurship that you love?
Boy, that's a big question. I'll give you a little bit of backstory first. Growing up as a kid, summer break was always every kid's highlight of the year, right?
Oh yeah.
Not us. It meant that we were going to be on the job site working for my dad 6 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Oh wow.
So I guess I think I learned how to work, working for my dad. So for me, I'm probably definitely a workaholic. So having my own business kind of gives me that freedom to work as much as I want, as hard as I can, just all of those freedoms of running a business.
Mm.
But then there's also the side of, I like racing cars. I'm a big car freak. So, taking off to go race for a weekend or go do some auto show thing somewhere, you can always take off and do it and don't have to ask for the time off. So, but I think it's just, just everything you learn along the way, all the people you meet, just kind of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the whole lifestyle that
it is, definitely.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of a kind. And being an entrepreneur myself, I can't imagine my life any other way. It's just the experiences that I've gotten, the people that I've met, the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur is just totally unmatched by any job that I could possibly have. And yes, sometimes you have maybe a job at a prestigious place and a prestigious company and you have certain connections that you make because of that, but I don't think it even comes close to anything you can do as an entrepreneur. Because it's just such a different world. So, to anybody watching, if you're considering either becoming an entrepreneur or continuing this journey, yes, it's hard. Yes, it can be very difficult sometimes, but this is probably one of the most fulfilling journeys that you can take, especially if you're working on something that you're passionate about. Now, assuming since you've been working on it for like 20 years, you're pretty passionate about health.
I am, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a little bit of backstory on that. My daughter was born without the instinct to breathe.
Oh, wow.
Pretty serious thing to be, you know, left without.
Yeah.
So through she spent the first 6 months of her life in the hospital, came home. We had a full ICU at home, but I saw a lot of things that were obviously designed by some engineer that never had to use it.
Mm,
And so I kind of started making things to help our lives, make it easier.
yeah.
And then at one point, to take her out of the house, it was her and about 120 pounds worth of equipment. So we would buy twin strollers to get her out of the house, and they would last a month to 3 months. And so I got tired of it, and I designed and developed my own like jogging stroller that had no rear axle, so we could put all of the equipment down underneath the seat.
Mm.
And taking that out, I started getting a lot of attention, going to the hospitals and the doctor's offices. They're like, "Oh, you got to build those." So then
So, are
we
you an
moved,
engineer?
just kind of by nature.
Okay.
Everybody has that thing they're good at.
Yeah,
For
you're
me,
just
I
like
can see things in my head,
you just like
and
design it.
I can design
Wow.
and build it.
I wish I could do that.
You can call me. um, so anyway, during that time, we moved to Orlando for health reasons for her. And I happened to meet a guy, and he kind of helped me with some different stages of development in the business. And that was about it. And then a few years later, he called me up one day and was like, "Hey, I'm battling cancer naturally. You need to look at this product." He goes, "I know you like to develop stuff, and this product could really help a lot of people, but it's too expensive." So he let me look at it, and bam, it took me about 6 months. I kind of started just selling them on the side. I didn't take it too serious. Um, and in 2005 was kind of the first year's sales. I did like 40,000 in sales, nothing big. Then I thought, okay, well, maybe this has a little bit of a shot. So I built a website. The next year we did 1.2. And this was selling an item that sold for $400 and $800.
Yeah, that's
And that
not
was
bad.
kind of the launch of the business. So then, in a couple of the, like when the banks were crashing and the couple of periods of time, things were tough. And I learned that our customers really liked us and they believed in our products and what we did. So I just kind of started developing new products to get through those rough times.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what year, it was about 9 years ago, I had learned about the red light therapy.
Okay.
And so I jumped into that. And at the time, there was just probably a handful of us making the product. And now I couldn't even tell you how many.
Yeah. You said something really interesting. When these challenges came, now normally somebody may react in a way where they pull back when they see challenges or banks are crashing and nobody wants to finance you and the economy's bad and it's a recession and nobody's buying, all these bad things. People tend to pull back. But instead of pulling back, you decided to develop new products. And I think there's something really beautiful about
That's
that.
what I discovered, how to keep things going.
Yeah,
So,
it's that forward momentum. You just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and that's how you keep growing and you get out of those challenging times. Because at the end of the day, why would you stop there? Like if you're walking through something that's difficult, why would you stop in that difficult place? You want to continue and keep developing and pushing forward and moving on to the next thing. So something really, really cool to learn there. Now, as far as your entrepreneurial journey as a business owner, how important would you say learning and growing and finding new ideas was to your success?
um, it's very important. Um, I'm an idea guy. So I think of things all the time in my head, and, you know, probably 90% of them I don't ever follow up on, which is
Hmm.
probably bad. But for me, that is where I excel at owning a business
Yeah.
and running a business. The business side of the business, is a little tougher for me. But I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm learning, okay, I need to hire the right people for these positions.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now as I'm slowly starting to hire some of these people to help with that.
Mhm.
So I can really just focus and be out in the warehouse where I like to be. I
Yeah.
have my own little bench back there, and that's my little creation table. So that's where I like to be.
Yeah.
And, but that's the kind of stuff that helps the business grow and keep moving forward.
Mhm. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, focusing on the stuff that you're good at is very, very important. How are you hiring these team members? You mentioned that you started hiring key people that can start working on the things that maybe you don't like doing or you're not so good at, so you can focus on what you're really good at.
Correct. That's tough. It's another thing that I'm probably don't have all the knowledge in the world on. So I have learned as I've gone. Right now, I mean, I have a great group of people. I'm very happy with it. The new division of the company, my partner there, he comes from a very big company. They own a cosmetic, the family owns a cosmetic company. So he has a lot of that business side of the knowledge you know, that maybe I'm a little lacking in
Mhm.
that is exciting for me because I can, again, focus on what I know best.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Now as far as learning, we understand that. We understand having the right team and hiring people and focusing on what we're good at. Um, you've obviously probably had different environments as a business owner that you've progressed through. Sometimes maybe it wasn't a conducive environment. Sometimes maybe it was. So, how important is environment to your growth as a business owner?
Um, it's it's pretty darn important, really. I mean, I think just all your staff. I mean, if it's a good environment, your
Hmm.
staff is better. They're happy.
Yeah,
It's kind of one thing I'm maybe a little lax on it, but I want to have a good place to, for all my employees to work.
yeah.
Um,
And personally, like for your personal growth, do you seek out environments that push you to be better? Like maybe communities of people who are further in business than you are, or like masterminds or anything like that, like changing your environment or even the place that you live. Like for me personally, changing the city that I live in made a huge difference in my business. Have you seen that in your
I do, or I have, yes. Probably about a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago, whatever it's been. I actually joined a private racetrack.
Okay,
Great place for meeting successful people.
absolutely.
I've met so many awesome people there. And that just kind of, spawns new relationships with the other people outside of that. Um, Being a car guy, doing a lot of car events, I just recently went to Monterey to the Ren Sport event by Porsche. Again, just people at those kind of events, many of them are, very successful.
Yeah.
So it's another great place to meet people. But yeah, I always find it very fascinating meeting somebody and kind of talking and, you always pick up a little bit of knowledge and some great ideas. Oh, that's, something that's how I can run that a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from events like this? Like how have you learned to run a better business? What are maybe like your top 3 lessons that you've learned?
you can't give up. Um, you get in those hard times, you've got to, just kind of like what I mentioned earlier, develop a new product.
Mhm.
That's probably one way. But I, I don't know. For me, it's really just been trying to get out, meeting people, signing up with. I just recently signed up, with a program with Grant Cardone. So I have an online portal I can go on. I did another program, kind of the same thing. For me, that's a way I need to learn things. That's a good way for me to learn. Because I kind of need to be able to, sit there by myself and focus on it. Because I have a brain that just is moving probably too fast.
Mhm.
So usually in the morning I'll get into the office and we'll spend maybe about an hour and work on that kind of stuff. But just learning different, things for the business.
Yeah. Okay, so not giving up, making sure that you're consistent and you're pushing forward no matter how challenging the circumstances, and then also continuously learning.
Correct.
Yeah.
And probably throwing another one in is just really trying to think outside the box.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, it's this world moves very quick, and just like the AI, Chat GTP. You know, one of my employees, my compliance person, she wanted to start, sign up for that and use it, and I didn't really play around with it much until I kind of started playing around with it, and now I probably use it almost every day. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an amazing thing, amazing tool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of cool applications of artificial intelligence in business today, and we're even applying it in many aspects of our business. We recently developed a tool that allows us to reach out to our clients using artificial intelligence. So instead of having like a whole army of salespeople, we can use this AI tool to reach out to them, find out what they need, find out how much value we could provide to them at this current state of their business, and how we can best serve them. And then once we have that information, then we can connect them to the right people on our team. And that makes it more efficient for everybody. So that's one thing that we've done. Now, are there certain people, maybe in your industry or just in business in general, that you feel like are really inspirational, or you've maybe modeled your business after their business? Are there people that inspire you?
um, I'm probably a big fan of Mark Cuban.
Okay.
Um, I mean, he started with nothing and, got to where he's at today. I've always watched Shark Tank a lot. And in the racing world, there's two people that I've always admired. One is Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton.
Hmm.
And they both came from very little. But to me, as with Mark, they're very humble. At least they seem humble to me. Watching the two race drivers, they get out of their car, no matter how good or bad they did, they would always thank, everybody for first off for being at the track. They would, congratulate the other driver that maybe beat them, even though I know how they feel when they don't win. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. So, like on the business side of things, are there people that you look up to other than Mark?
um, hmm. um, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. So you just kind of pave your own path. I love it.
I kind of have. I mean,
Yeah.
because like I said, I've always just kind of done my own thing.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And for me, developing a product was my main focus.
Yeah. So how do you develop yourself? So obviously you're a very smart person. You like to continue growing and learning and developing. Are there certain sources that you go to get this development? Maybe it's just books or podcasts or mentors, like you said, Grant Cardone. Is it maybe just YouTube University? Like, what is it for you that helps you grow?
I'll go on like on TED Talks and listen to some of that stuff.
Okay.
Sometimes scrolling through social, you'll come across some interesting podcast or people talking about different things.
Hmm.
A lot of them are like the sales thing. They're trying to sell you something, but I can still pick up and learn some stuff just by listening to what they have to say.
Hmm.
Um, that and listening to audiobooks.
Hmm.
Um, I have a little bit of a hard time retaining information just because I can be reading a book and thinking about how to build something.
Hmm.
So I hear myself reading, but I'm not necessarily retaining everything I'm reading. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I don't know. When it comes to building things, yeah, I like to associate with a bunch of, I have a number of people that are creative that way and build products. So they're a great network to know.
Yeah, definitely. And so how have you structured your business? Are you just selling things in person or online, or like where has been your main focus?
We sell online.
Okay.
Um,
Only
we
online?
know probably most of our sales are just through, sales department. Um,
So
you know,
like phone
s-
sales.
Phone sales, cold calls, leads we have coming in from, social, from AdWords, different things that we've done over time. We've done some print. I've tried about everything we can think of. We've kind of pulled back from everything, kind of regrouping. We just signed up with a great PR firm, um, and kind of slowly kind of stepping back into some of the different levels of marketing. Um, Again, I just learned a lot, the mistakes that we made on all of that before. And now I'm
Yeah.
being you have to be a lot more picky about, because everybody's telling you, oh, we're going to help you 3 times your sales, so, and they usually don't. Probably more so because we have a very niche market. It's not like selling tennis shoes or t-shirts.
Mhm.
Red light therapy is kind of at an early stage in its development. And it is expected to grow, quite a bit.
Mhm.
But it's still pretty early in that growth.
Mhm.
So, but yeah.
So what have you seen as the most successful source like for leads? Let's say qualified leads for your business. Is it social media? Is it print ads? Is it maybe Facebook ads?
Right now it's Facebook.
So Facebook ads, paid ads, right?
No, just a lot of, we hired a company for Facebook. Um, just doing a lot of posting. We make, my sales director is great at, making, videos. He actually worked with, Tony Robbins for a number of years. So kind of has that upbeat, positive vibe to him. So yeah, he's made a lot of great videos. Um, and so yes, a lot of posting that. We have done paid ads in the past.
Mhm.
And that is something, we're in talks with a couple different companies for that, getting back into the AdWords. Um, Print, I'm not 100, haven't been 100% sold on that yet. We didn't really see much results with that. Um, and that is kind of one thing. The new division of the company will kind of take that sales out of the equation. It'll be more of, would you like a free piece of equipment? And we'll share the revenue with you.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty easy sale.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, definitely. No, I think strategic partnerships are a very, very important aspect of any business, whether it's just maybe an independent sales organization that's selling for you, or strategic partners upstream or downstream. Like, no matter where you're at with your business, there are probably people who have clients who should also be your clients because they're offering a service that's maybe parallel to yours.
mhm.
And you don't necessarily like eat into each other's business, but there can be a strategic partnership there. And that's one aspect of my business that I've really, really been growing recently because I see the opportunity there. Not only for me to provide a ton of value for somebody else's clients, but for them, like for us to be able to partner on their services as well, because they have a valuable business. They have a valuable service that they provide. And I'm not the expert at it, but I can partner with them to provide that service as well. So, definitely some great stuff there. So it sounds like organic posting on social media for you has been very, very effective. So would you say that social media is a critical part of any business in 2024?
I would say so. Definitely. Obviously, it probably depends on the business, but for us, it has been.
Yeah. And how can people improve their social media presence?
Mm. Um, Hire the right company for it. We've got it. Like I said, we've hired a great company. She's been really active. In just, I think, about 3, 4 short months, she's more than doubled our followers. I don't know the correct term, but people seeing our post and videos, not that don't follow us,
Hmm.
that has skyrocketed. I mean, absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. And that's just improving the content that you're posting.
correct.
Cool. Yeah, that's very, very important. So as far as social media, we understand it's an important aspect of any business. Now, if somebody's watching this and they're maybe newer to business and they don't really know what areas of their business to focus on to improve, what were some areas when you were just first making, let's say, 7 figures? What are some areas that you focused on that helped you accelerate things to the next level?
For me, it was always new product development or improving our product. The red light product it's been a pretty big, learning curve, and especially developing a product that is reliable for the consumer. Um, but that is, and what was the question again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so, like, let's say when you first hit your 7 figures in business, your first 7 figures, what were some things that you did to run a better business? Because we want people to walk away from this. Like, let's say they've just hit their first million. They're like, man, how can I better my business? And this podcast pops up. So
Correct.
they're
Okay.
watching and they're like, okay, I want to know from Michael's experience, how can I run a better business in order to take things to 8 figures or
Okay.
multiple 7 figures?
Sure. Okay. Well, one of the things that I've done a lot was with SBA. They have a program that you can sign up with, and you can work with basically volunteer CEOs and CFOs and
Hmm.
marketing specialists and all that. I've done that quite a bit. Another program I did with SBA was actually 9 months worth of classes in Phoenix. So I had to drive to Phoenix twice a month. Now, when I tried to sign up, thought I was nuts, but they're like, if you're willing to make the drive, you can join the class, because they were selective for that.
Hmm.
Learned a lot with that. For me, I've relied a lot on consultants for the areas that I don't have all of the specialty in.
Hmm.
That's been very helpful along the way. Um, those are probably what the things that I've done.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So anything else that you would like to share as far as like growing your business? What can people do? Actionable steps they can take today? Maybe like two or three top things they can focus on to improve their business.
Um, to improve the business, I guess it kind of depends on the product or what it is they're selling, but um, I've always, I guess another thing that we've done is done a bit of reach out to clients. Fairly often I'll send polls out, or, like ask, clients that have purchased from us, hey, what, have you seen, what's been helping you? Um, we have developed things for our business to help them. Because obviously if they're successful, hopefully they'll come back and buy another product from us. So we have developed programs. One for my main company, we call it BBS University. And for anybody that buys a product, they get a login for that. And it really just helps them with every aspect that they need to run their business. Because again, they get so busy selling red light therapy sessions, they're going to need another bed.
Hmm.
So, and then they're back knocking on our door. So that is, one thing that we've done. Um, Again, a lot of product focus. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's probably
Gotcha. So I like what you said about adding value to the product that you already have. So you're not just giving them the product, you're also giving them a service that's going to help them improve their operations and make more sales, because then that comes back to you and you've retained a customer and you have a returning customer. So I think that is a very important aspect of business. It's just that creating that value stack with your product so that you're able to not just get a customer one time, but you have them coming back over and over and over again because you've created success for them.
correct.
So we as business owners, we have a lot of opportunity to create success for people, and we can do that through our products, through our services. So sometimes you see companies like they start out with one product and then all of a sudden they expand to like 5, 10, 15, 20 products, and they're all integrated because as a business owner you start seeing, okay, when people use my product, they already had all these problems over here, but now there's an opportunity to improve their business because they have this product, but then also if they have this add-on, it's going to be even better. And we can make them even more efficient and more effective if we add on this product. So having that whole ecosystem of products, I think is very, very important. And that's something that has helped me create a better business. And even as far as like scaling and partnerships go, that's where it all ties in. And that's when you build a real corporation, when you go from delivering just one product or one service to creating a whole suite of solutions for people that are helping them improve their business and run a stronger company at the end of the day, because that's what they value. Now, another thing that I wanted to touch on is you mentioned feedback loops. So, having a feedback loop from your customer.
Hmm.
So, they're giving you feedback on, via polls or surveys or whatever it may be. What have you found to be the most effective ways to collect that feedback? And then how do you guys respond to it? Let's say a client gives you ridiculous feedback, right? They're like, hey, your red light beds are too bright. Like, are you just going out there and adjusting beds now, the brightness of the beds? Or, or are you assessing, like, do you have a filtering system to assess the feedback? Or, Tell me about that process.
Well, touching on that, actually, our very first generation of red light bed, it required a technician to put the person in it. The bed would let them out, but it needed a technician to put them in.
Mm,
And we had a client back east. He bought a number of them for all of his stores. And one day we were talking, and he says, if you could make this bed so it could be a self entry, and meaning, so then you don't need a technician. And it was kind of something that resonated with me.
mhm.
And so I really started thinking about it. And now, bam, that's what we sell now.
Yeah.
So yeah, feedback from the customer has been really beneficial for us. Um, we've had different products along the way that had different features. And I've had clients or past customers say, it'd be great if you had that feature that you had on this as well.
Mhm.
And again, so we've done that.
Yeah.
And it just, adds it helps set you apart from your competitors because now you have a little bit more than what they're offering.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
And that adding that additional value to your product, it does make a difference, and it
mhm.
makes you stand out as the best option because you want to be top of mind. You want to be the solution that is being thought of when people think of red light therapy. They're like, "Oh, I want Michael's product because it has X, Y, Z."
Yeah, that's kind of one thing that we're really experiencing right now is, maybe I'm a little weird, but it's very important for me to have a good product. Um, Probably more so than a lot of companies.
Hmm.
And what we're starting to see as with our competition is what they're telling their customers that they're getting. And we're actually been going out and testing their competitors' beds, and it's nowhere near what they say that they are.
Hmm.
So we're kind of starting to develop a little bit of campaign around that. I don't want to put them down in any way, but just kind of try and educate the consumers about red light. It is a very unregulated industry.
Hmm.
Um, and even though it is a class 2 medical device per FDA and you need to be FDA registered, a majority of the companies are not. Um, so, obviously we are registered and we are actually going over and above, even though we don't have to be FDA cleared. We're getting cleared. We're working on that.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just, something we've really been seeing that there's seems to be more people out there just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah, definitely. So, would you say that your product is the best one on the market as
I,
far as red light therapy?
I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Hands down. And I
Why
can
so?
prove it. I could prove it.
Why so?
Simply because of that. So in red light therapy, there's a measurement. Like if I told you my car has 500 horsepower, you know what that means.
Hmm.
In red light, it's a measurement called milliwatts centimeter squared. And that is the measurement of the light intensity off the LED diode.
Okay.
And that is kind of what I was talking about. So you have a special meter that you can measure this. But red light dissipates incredibly fast. If you think of like a pressure washer or your sprayer on your hose,
Hmm.
the highest pressure is going to be right where it's exiting out. But as it's fanning out, it's going to get weaker very quick.
Hmm.
Same thing happens with red light.
Okay.
It dissipates incredibly quick.
Okay.
So the strongest point where you're going to be the most effective is you need that source of light to be as close to the body as possible.
Mm.
Our bed is literally the only bed on the market that was designed to be a red light therapy bed. Everybody else is using the tanning bed clamshell design, which was great for tanning, but terrible for red light because of the distance. Some of these beds are, even though it may only be a half inch to an inch away, up all the way to a foot away from the body. We can take our meter and put it on the diode and maybe have a reading of, 90, and you move it an inch away, it will drop down into the teens.
Wow.
And in red light therapy, the studies are showing that for a system to be effective, it should be between 30 to 100.
Mm.
So our beds are right about 68. And like I said, we've gone out and measured a number of the top brand competitors, and they're all in the low teens to single digits.
Wow. And so how does yours work differently? Where is it not affected by distance, or have you like brought it closer to the consumer?
Yeah, we've brought it closer. So they're laying on a bed of lights.
Okay.
And then when the main canopy comes down, rather than like the tanning bed design, where it's, inches to a foot away from the body, our canopy actually comes down and rests right on top of the body.
Oh
So
wow.
now our diodes are within, a quarter of an inch from the body.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, and so you can consistently produce that 68 figure.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, which it's important. It's, the better, the more strength there is, the better the penetration is going to be into the body.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you think there's ever gonna be a different solution for that instead of a bed, maybe like a little booth that you can go into with like mirrors or something so it doesn't escape?
There's systems out there that have marketed and they have reflective material in their beds,
Yeah,
and they say the light is bouncing around and absorbed into the body, but it doesn't happen.
interesting.
Um, and that's nothing that I'm just saying to try and sell. It's literally we can take our meter and prove it to you.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
could
yeah.
say, okay, look at we're going to hold this here inside the bed, and you'll get a reading of say in the single digits,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which just isn't. I mean, it can still be effective, but it's kind of like if you needed to drive from New York to L.A. Do you want to do it in a old Volkswagen Bug with 40 horsepower, or would you rather do it in a Porsche with 500 horsepower?
Yeah.
It's just obviously you want more power.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're able to deliver is more power.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, that's really great insight. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think there's a lot to learn as far as like perfecting your product. And it sounds like that's something that you've done and that's your main focus in your business. So there's a lot to be said about the customer experience, about the operations of the business, but also having a product that actually works, and whether it's a physical product or it's a service, like there's a lot of value in having a product that has been perfected. But I do think that sometimes people go a little bit too far with the perfection. I'm not saying you, but like in general, some
No, I
people
know what you
try to
mean.
wait for a product that's really perfect before they launch it, and
Hmm.
so that actually slows them down and doesn't allow them to launch the product until maybe years later, or if ever they do launch it. So, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Hope you guys learned a lot about perfecting your product and even if the competition's product is not as good as yours, it doesn't mean that yours has to be like that. So paving your own path and learning how you can perfect your product so that it stands out and adds value to the consumer, especially with like the training that he does. Adding additional value to your customer allows them to learn and grow and become better at what they do so that they're successful with your product and then they come back for more and they're a repeat customer and they're happy with the service that you provided. So thank you guys for joining us on Better Business, and we'll see you all in the next episode.